tapped into it because they're in a place where there's no word, no pasture. But if we fetch them out of the messed up place, Lord have mercy, I think we can bring them to a new position. The Bible said they fetched him. They had to pick him up. Have you ever had to have somebody pick you up? Yes. And see, some of you, I'm about to help some of y'all. Some of y'all too secretive to get picked up. See, you don't pick up folk that's always trying to hide stuff from you. You pick up the folk who are willing to admit, I'm crippled, and I can't go unless you carry me. Unless you help me get up, I can't. Lord have mercy. See, last night my wife was up taking a nap. I took a nap downstairs, and then I was having Keela do some stuff for me, and the other girls were doing something, and I got antsy, and I couldn't get up myself, and I sent my wife a text. I'm like, hey, you gonna think about me down here? Why? Because I need somebody to help me get up. And I told her, I said, baby, you's a good woman. You's a good girl. You's a good girl. Why? Because when I needed her, she was there to help me get up. And sometimes you've got to drop your pride long enough. Lord, I'm going to try to preach for us all over. You got to drop your pride long enough to tell somebody, hey, I look good from the waist up, but I can't stand up till you pick me up. Tell somebody I need to be fetched. I need to be fetched. And see that? And see, that's why, yes, Lord, that's why the devil loves to keep you out of church when you're going through. Because see, he hopes that if you don't come to church, nobody will pick you up. But see, do I have any witnesses that ever came to church down?
Yes, Pastor.
And somebody else's praise picked you? You couldn't dance for yourself. You couldn't shout for yourself. You couldn't wave your hand. But when you saw her shouting something, the way she danced just made something tickle in your spirit. Hey, God, I thank you. If she can shout with what she's going through, God, I thank you for keeping me in my Loader Bar situation. I got to hurry up. So he tells him, come. He said, go down there and fetch Mephibosheth. They go fetch him. They go bring him. They carry him to David. And then Mephibosheth, oh God, I love this missionary. Mephibosheth, even though he's lame and he's been in a low down place, when he gets in the presence of royalty, he knows how to respond. The text said he prostrated himself. Now, Tidrick, that's kind of difficult when you're lame in both feet. So he's got to make a definite effort to tell you to now put me down and let me stretch out in a vulnerable place that I can't even get up from myself. See, that's why in the old sanctified church, folk would fall out and stay out. See, today now folk fall, and by the time they fall, they're ready to get up and primp and get themselves back together. Hope that nobody see it. But in the old church, you fell out, you stayed there. Why? Because you stayed until God was done. Because you realized, Lord, I didn't go down here on my own, so I'm not getting up on my own either. I'm going to stay here until you have finished what you've done in my soul. So now Mephibosheth lays down prostrate in front of David. And then Mephibosheth refers to his own self as a dead dog. Now, I thought initially that he was stuck in Loader Bar thinking, until you correctly study it, that yes, when Jews referred to others as dogs, it was an insult. When we refer to themselves as dogs, it was meant to show humility. So Mephibosheth says, look, I recognize that I'm only out of my place because you sent for me. If you hadn't sent for me, I'd still be in the same place, stuck in the same situation. But because you sent for me, I'll humble myself in your presence. and I'll accept anything you have to give. And then David began to say, well, you don't know about this, Mephibosheth, but while you were not even born yet, your father and I, we were tight, and we made a covenant, and I promised him that I would take care of his family as long as I was alive. And so because of your relationship to your father, I'm going to bring you out of your Lodabar place. I'm going to give you all the land that belonged to your grandfather. And I'm going to make sure that now the one who used to have to beg now has servants taking care of him. Oh my God. If I could dance, I'd holler and dance right there. You mean to tell me that God has such a way that when God begins to finally come through on his promises, God has a way to bring things up that you didn't even know belonged to you. God has a way of bringing things back full circle. Lord, it was an agreement made before Mephibosheth was even born. And for at least 30 years, he's been trapped down lame in Lodabar. But now, one day, because somebody remembered his daddy, all of a sudden now he's brought out of his low down situation. And that's why I come by here to encourage somebody that are in the midst of everything that you've been going through. Yeah, in the midst of everything that has not gone the way you thought it would go. That God still keeps his promises. Touch somebody and say, I serve that kind of God. He's a promise-keeping God. Well, what kind of promises did my God keep? I'm so glad that you asked. Yes. Let me go to Joshua chapter 21. I got to hurry up and get out of your way. But Joshua 21 and 45, it says, not one promise failed of any good thing which the Lord had spoken unto the house of Israel. All came to pass. And I stopped by to encourage somebody that no matter how long you've been down in Lodabar, no matter how long folk have been overlooking and walking over you, that when God gets ready to remember you, he'll pull you out of obscurity and he'll pull you out of nothingness, and God will give you a great and real promise. Touch somebody on your right or your left and say, I serve that kind of God.